What's up and welcome back. John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm reviewing Miley Cyrus, Something Beautiful. So click like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we're going to jump into this. I'm a blind film critic, so I watch things with audio description. You know, those other critics that say they go into things blind. Well, I actually do go into things blind because I go into everything blind. So I went into Miley Cyrus, Something Beautiful blind. I knew this existed. It was at the Tribeca Film Festival this year, the 2025 Tribeca Film Festival, and kicked up a little bit of storm because for some reason fans decided to go to the premiere of this thinking that Miley was performing live. They didn't understand what Tribeca was. So like so a whole bunch of people just showed up, and then Miley, like, who happened to be there to promote her visual album, just was like, okay. So she kind of like threw some stuff together and performed for a crowd that was like raging out of control, apparently. So, I don't know. People, you know, we don't understand things anymore. TikTok has melted brains. I don't know what to say, but it's a visual album. So this is what you might say, Miley Cyrus, this is me, dot, dot, now. uh, so, yeah, I try to review different things like this just because for audio description purposes to sort of talk about how these things function. Earlier this year, I reviewed Carrie Underwood's concert film. I've done like some stand-up stuff, so I'm not heavy into visual albums, but I decided to take a swing at Miley Cyrus's. I wasn't, I don't like totally hate her music, but if I could have chosen a different artist to have a visual album that I liked more, sure. I mean, are there people I like more than Miley Cyrus? Yeah. Are there people I like less than Miley Cyrus? Yeah. It's sort of like in the middle for me. Like some of her stuff, don't like some of her stuff. So this is a little under an hour, and it pretty much just hits you right off the bat. There isn't really a plot structure to this. It's just sort of like her performing, and she changes things, and it keeps a flow. It's kind of impressive in the fact that it feels like it never stops moving. I don't know if any cuts are actually visible, or if they just planned the whole thing uh, to be shot straight through, but it does kind of. There is like an act one and an act two, which, so I mean, there is a thing where it says act two. So, I mean, that would be a great opportunity. So even if they did like in two takes, this film, that would be somewhat impressive. But it's just her songs, man. It's just like the songs from the new album, and she's performing them, and there's some dancers there, and she's got some like a look on. So I think visual albums are the way to go because you can kind of put them on these streaming services and they attract an audience that becomes interested in the idea that you went sort of feature length somewhat with your album instead of YouTube videos, which is what the other thing you become reliant on if you're going to do a music video, because we don't really have the days of like MTV and TRL are dead. The way that we consume music now is less oriented specifically around the visual element of music. So if you want your song to tell a story, or as an artist you want to be, on screen in an actual thing that's not necessarily just like a TikTok, or something on Instagram, like a reel or something. It's the most substantial thing where they actually pay for like a director to come in and they shoot an actual music video. That art has shifted to, okay, so how do we get this out to the world? And more of these artists are choosing to do visual albums. So I think this is going to become more of a thing as it seems more artists are doing them. So how does audio description work in a visual album? Because it can't trample the singing. Well, the way that Something Beautiful is shot is that she sings, and there are plenty of. Miley is somebody who is functionally able to move. So not only do her songs have dance breaks, but there are like breaks between songs. So like where she's doing like a costume change or like the dancers are coming in. So there's actually quite a bit of time here to be able to add audio description to the visual album. So it's not just like turning on her album, and listening to it off of your Spotify on your phone or something. There's an actual reason you might want to sit through this, is to be able to understand. I don't know that it's like wildly different, but if you're a super fan of Miley and you want to partake in the experience, there is an experience to partake in instead of being left out of it. They could have just not audio described the film at all and just been like, well, it's just the album. I mean, that it is, but also that's not why you created this. It is a visual album. So if there are visuals, then that means there should be audio description so that blind and low vision people know what is on the screen. So yeah, I think actually they did a pretty good job of this. I think Point 360 did this audio description, if I remember correctly. And I didn't catch the name of the narrator. If I have a really hard time with narrators that I'm not familiar with, and we have a lot of new people that are breaking in and trying to get work and have only done a couple things and don't remember her name. I understand a lot of times that audio description companies, they make a track and then somebody else mixes the final. And the only comment I would have on this with the mix is it could have been kicked up a little bit. So, because the film is kind of loud and probably people are going to rock out to it, which means that probably if you're going to turn up your speakers anyway, it's not going to bother you too much. I didn't need to have Miley at 11 coming out of my television. I had her at like a normal volume that I would have any film at. But I can totally see some people just like cranking this up on the speaker system and like partying in the USA. That's fine. If that's the hill you want to climb, then climb it, It's always going to be another mountain. So, if this is for you and you want to hear the audio description, you're going to hear it. I mean, but if you play it too quietly, no, it's because it is lower than the volume of the film. So if you're trying to like, I don't know, if you're trying to watch this film and like not disturb anybody in the family, so you're like sitting there quietly with the film, the audio description is ticked lower than usual than the audio of the film. So it's like a notch below what it normally would be. It's not a huge problem. It's just like a little thing. So I was like, I don't know, it's a little bit quiet for what we usually get, but it's, yeah. I don't want this review to go on forever because this movie is not even an hour. So that's about it. It is what it is. She moves through the songs. I'm not, all the songs kind of felt the same to me. Again, I picked somebody I was pretty neutral on so that I could give you the most neutral reaction to what it is to audio describe a visual album. I wasn't really excited for the film, but I'm also not excited for it. I couldn't carry it away, and the fact that it premiered at Tribeca gave it sort of a little bit more of a platform, of a reasoning to drop this. It's on Disney Plus and Hulu, and you can check it out for your own desire. I don't know what to do with this. I think I'm just going to put this out here as a review and not grade it. I'm a tomato meter critic and I could grade this unless I'm like I'm legally forced to. The problem is that when this is like my first visual album, so I have nothing else to compare it to. So if like I'm comparing it to other films, well, I didn't like it because it doesn't have like a narrative structure. So that's not fair. So I guess if I was like legally required to grade this film based on anytime I publish a review now, I have to put it on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not going to be fresh simply because I don't think visual albums as a concept are my thing, but this is made more for the idea to talk about it from an audio description perspective and like what it can do, what it is doing. It's just describing sort of like some of the looks. It describes what it can in and around in the given moments. It doesn't have a ton of time, but it does have little moments to be able to describe, some costume changes or some people come in and do the things, or, kind of a little bit of maybe what the set looks like. It's not effusive audio description by any means, but at the same time, it's also not vacant of description. So there's a reason that you might want to watch this with audio description. So yeah, that's it. There's no grade. I don't intend on submitting this to the Tomato Meter. So I'm sure there are other people who have put this on there, but they probably have seen other visual albums. Like I actually didn't even see Jennifer Lopez's "This Is Me" ... now. I just know everybody makes fun of it. So yeah, I have nothing else. I have Carrie Underwood's concert movie, and so but that's a completely different animal. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.